Oh, hello.
Hi.
Finally, we are all in one time zone, huh?
I know.
Abs-
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
So good to see you. I mean, it's nice to be back.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Who's,
Except,
yeah,
and then one more.
yeah. Because a couple
Except,
of months ago, I think we were
and
working on three different time zones. You were on a different time zone. Hi,
Hi.
Jayashree.
Hi.
So good to be back on the same time zone. Hey,
Yeah, of course, of
I,
course. Yes.
such a
Ideally.
pleasure. Such a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
so today, as we were discussing, there's not much I'm going to be talking about because, it's all about cooking and what I do. But the kind of information that Nina and
Gee.
Jayashree has. It's so informative. In fact, when they were putting out the points for us to discuss, and Malti, set it all right, I was
Great
amazed.
job.
There's so much these young people know so much more than me. I was just amazed. I said, okay, you can't cover it in 40 minutes because Nina went on and on giving so many different options. This can be done, that can be done,
Yes.
All
this was
credits
said, that
to
was said.
Malti.
So we said,
Yes,
I know,
definitely.
we said
Malti.
we are going to continue.
Kudos for your
Yeah,
thoughts.
Malti was the one who gave the idea.
Idea, the
Absolutely.
topic. Oh,
So
Jayashree went away. Can you just
she's
add her
not
back?
able to join. She's not able to join. Malti, are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Malti
there.
is there.
Suddenly it says she's not able to join or something. It came
Oh,
Malti. So I was
no,
wondering. So
Jayashree.
I
you're
think
there.
Jayashree got
Jayashree
off
is
now.
there.
No,
Jayashree?
she's not there. Nina,
Absolutely.
Nina, you can hear
So
both
she
of us,
wants to.
right?
Yeah, I can. Very audible
Jayashree.
and clear. Very
Okay.
audible and clear.
So Jayashree, what is happening?
You want me to call her?
So
Or
let's.
you start, Vijay, she can join in. Keep
Yeah.
an eye for her request though. I
Yeah.
mean, if she requests you, you'll have to let her in.
Yeah.
Let's begin
So
in the
I hope
interest
she
of time.
makes another request because I would like her to join. And then, she has so many Tamil homilies and examples to give. I would
Very
love to
much.
hear.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I know what's happening. Yeah. Make a request again, please.
Have you got a request?
No, I haven't got as yet. Again.
You want me to call her? I can call from the other phone and check.
Yeah, maybe you can
Okay.
just. Okay.
Let's begin.
So, so as we were, Malti suddenly came up. Yeah, there she is.
She's there?
She wants to. She sent in a request. Go live with Relishing Madras. Yeah. So, join. Accept. Yeah. So then, Malti gave this idea, and she even had some beautiful photographs of salt. So we said, yes, I mean, it seems a beautiful idea. Then suddenly we realized it's so brilliant because there were so many things that we're talking. We're talking about Singa salt, we're talking about Himalayan pink salt, we're talking about Kallupu, we're talking about table salt. It just went on and on. So my little bit, I'll start off. I've always given importance to salt in the sense, I've always said you have to add the right amount of salt. If you add less, the flavor of the other spices do not stand up. And if you don't add it at the right time, it doesn't give color to the green vegetables. So I always, I mean, through the years, I think for the past 23 years when I published my book, I used to talk about adding. Is she there? She's still not there. Unable to join.
I don't know.
Accept.
She sent you a
So
request?
maybe she'll come again. Yeah. Accept. Is it anything to do with mine?
Or do you think, we
Still
need to
going
log
on.
out and then get in back again? Or is it required Malti? What do you say?
So we
Sometimes
have
it
quite
happens.
a few people have joined already. So in the interest of time and their time, I think
Yeah,
we
very true.
continue. What do you want me to do for that?
Yeah.
Jay is not able to join.
Yeah, she's sending the request to
Oh,
accept.
connection
and I
is
am
not good. Oh,
accepting.
connection is not good, she says. She's written. Okay.
Connection is not
So
good.
let's
Okay,
keep our
let's see.
fingers crossed.
So she
Perhaps
can
she'll
listen
join
and
in
she can
quickly.
always see. That's what she's saying. So she can join in the
Yeah.
conversation, or when she makes a request again, I will
Yeah.
accept it. So I always heat up the water, very little water in the pressure cooker, in a pressure pan, actually, small one. And then I add kallup.
Ah.
I never use unable to join. So I never use, as much as possible, I don't use table salt at all. Those days it was only Kallupul. We had the Himalayan salt coming much later.
Very true.
So I used to add the right amount of it and allow it to melt in that. And once the salt starts melting, bubbles form on that. Then I add the vegetable and I stir it up. The moment I stir it, it starts getting really green. So that is the kind of importance I gave to salt. And
can you come
and
back
I can
again on
imagine
that?
if people-
Can you come back again on that small repetition of how you go to pressure cook and to how many whistles that will complete the entire process?
Yes.
Thank
so
you.
it is very little water
Okay.
I add. Say for about a quarter kilo of vegetables, I could add just about half a cup of water. I allow the water to boil and I add the kallup,
Okay.
not table salt, kallup, and once it melts, I pour this.
Okay.
See, can
Yeah,
hear
she
you?
can hear.
Go ahead, she says.
Yeah.
Because again and again, I'm getting this. So it melts and then a foam starts coming. Wherever it melts at that point. So that's the time to add the vegetable, the cut, washed vegetables. So when I start stirring. The ones from under, when they come to the top, they start getting green. And then the top goes under, and then when you start stirring the whole thing together, it gets greener than the normal green color. So I close the pressure cooker for exactly a whistle.
Okay.
And I do not wait for the whistle to completely, I switch it off. I do not wait for the whistle to completely subside. I just give it about 10 seconds and I open it up. Because then it's cooked, it's soft, it's cooked, and the colors retain. Because I remember those days people used to add soda to give it color. I realized that is the worst thing you can do. See, you want to have green vegetables and then you end up adding cooking soda. All the benefits of the green vegetable is gone.
Absolutely.
So when there is very little water that remains, I do not waste that water. So I season the whole thing, I put it there again, and then the water evaporates. And if there's still a little water remaining, and then I add the freshly grated coconut. If there's still a little water remaining, I use it for another dish. So this is the way I go about, go live with Relishing Madras. Let's see if she comes. So this is the way I cook always. Always I cook like that. So I never gave importance to how important salt is because that was my method of cooking. So then I consequently, I understood. Again, if you add too much of salt, you can't repair it. It's very difficult. Some people add sugar, a little bit of sugar to give it a greenness. I don't think the sugar is necessary. Just the salt would be enough. You're adding extra sugar to it and then, things like that. But I know of people who say you add sugar, it gives a color. So maybe it happens. But salt is the tremendous result that it gives, not as much as sugar, I believe. So that is my take on salt. And I always believe I do not spoon the salt into the thing because I feel if I use my fingers, I know what amount of salt to add. But this we cannot add to a stir fry. You cannot add kallup to a stir fry. So then it's better to powder the kallup than buy table salt. And then, you can add that. And now, of course, the pink salt has come. You get pink salt powder also. So it solves all your problem. So it's that important, request to be joining. Okay, go live with her. Poor girl. It's just that, accept. I'm just accepting all the time. So now I think Nina has a lot to say. Nina, I hand over the thing to you. Okay, Malti,
Nina, before you start, just in the interest of our viewers and those who have joined this call, please explain what kallup is and take on from there, please. Because kallup is a typical Tamil word, so not everybody who's on the call might understand.
Oh, you want me to say that, Malti? Okay, I think, kallup is nothing but the crystal salt, the bigger form of salt, which is, of course, refined. It is refined form. It's not, now, we have the iodized salt also. The crystal salts also, what I gathered from you people, comes even in the stone form, the crystal form too. So that is it. And then the table salt is the free-flowing salt, which, you know, we all use the powder and the kallupu. We are all using a combination of those salt. So the crystal salt is the kallupu means the crystal salt, the bigger form, not the powdered form. So that is one thing. And we have, of course, various varieties of salt when we think about sodium salt, potassium salt, and all those things, I think, and the black salt and the Himalayan salt, that is the rock salt or the Saindalavana, right? And then I think, so I think now, you know, but whatever it is, I think, don't you think everything is the element of salt there? Whether they say the element of uppu kshara anta heltiv now, Kannadadalli, the content of the uppu or the kshara, it depends on how much your palate wants, and the tongue also probably is used to, right? So I think, you know, it's such an integral part of our food and a cuisine and day-to-day food, right? So that's about it. So what do we remember when we go to salt? When we think about salt, I think what I would really fondly remember a Kannada hadu. You know, those days, how did we learn alphabets? English, forget it. A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog. But actually in Kannada Aksharamale, like in Tamil or in Kannada or in any other Desi language, you know, if everything had one specific line that we could think as a moral. ಈ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಅಕ್ಷರಮಾಲೆ, so that used to go like that, you know, and then u means ಉಪ್ಪು ತಿಂದ ಮನೆಗೆ ಎರಡು ಬಗೆಯ ಬೇಡ means, you know, you have to be loyal to the person or the home that has taken care of you and fed you well. So likewise, it's a moral for the younger generation. See how nice, no? How nice. I mean, the whole A to E, Yara Lava Shesha, the entire thing was taught to us with a moral.
I think, Neena, you're meaning that in Hindi there's one saying, na, jiska namak khaya, uska something. Correct?
Yes, very true. You have to be loyal.
Don't be a traitor
Very
to
true.
who has kind of
Yeah. So how such an integral, and even when we are talking about salt, the first thing I think in our southern cuisine, when we are serving food to a guest or during any occasion, the first thing what we served to anyone is uppu. Where does it come? On the left hand side of the plantain leaf. That is how it is served. And so that is so much important, right, Viji? I think it's the same down even in Tamil Nadu also, right? Karnataka, we follow the same thing.
Yeah, like I was saying, some people, like for example, my son-in-law, my second son-in-law, he always finds, auntie, you added a little extra, but I would have added the right amount. But he eats less of salt.
Oh, that's nice.
Because he always dreads he'll have his blood pressure or something like that. So it's completely under control. He doesn't have medicine for it. But he says, so he eats less of salt. So what happens is, most of the Indian restaurants where they order food and everything, the salt is on the higher level for them. Whereas in the other, you know, restaurants and all, they don't add that kind of salt. The Indian restaurants do add a pinch higher salt than others, which we can get used to not having that much. We can start having less. But you can't be so less, because you do need to add a little more than less, because I feel the flavor of the vegetable comes out better when you add the right amount of salt. So I always give importance to salt. So I say, don't have too much of salt, but have with salt. And eat in moderation. So, I mean, you don't have to worry about the blood pressure or anything like that. But, I mean, that's my two bit for it, because I feel salt is as important, most important spice, if you want to add the other spices and get the flavor of the other spices, you know.
To balance it.
You know, and like you say, salt is salt in any form.
Very true.
Exactly like we say, sugar in any form is sugar. Sweet
Very
in any form is sugar. It can be jaggery, it can be palm sugar, it can be, you know, turbinado sugar, it can be refined sugar. Sugar is sugar. I mean, that's what my doctor says. I mean, don't say you're having jaggery instead of refined sugar.
Very true.
Even jaggery is sugar. So it's the same way for everything. Just that I think the table salt has excess of salt in it.
But it's
I believe
iodized form. Now, we're getting
yes,
iodized form.
table salt. Okay. Okay. And then one more thing I realized, the crystal form of the pink salt has more saltiness than the crystal form of white sugar. That again I discovered. I don't know why. So I need to be, careful in adding that, because the crystal form, I think, is large crystals. It's not the smaller crystals that you find in the white salt. So maybe that is the reason. But I always have to be more careful when I add crystal pink salt, the Himalayan salt, to food. I mean,
Right.
so
It's
you
a
can
matter of getting used to the usage, especially while weighing, putting your proportions with your spoon or with your. Most of us are used to just picking up salt from the salt pig and putting it in the food
with your
directly. Yeah,
fingers.
with the fingers. That's a different intuitive
Just for
measures.
salt.
Yeah, just for salt. Yeah, salt and a little bit of jaggery too, of course. Both. I mean, that is it.
Absolutely.
So.
Because I
Well,
think
not
I always used
teaspoons
to
work
ask
for
my
us. The teaspoon measure of salt doesn't. We're not used to that, isn't it?
doesn't
We
work.
go by
Doesn't work.
the intuitive measures, isn't it? So that
Absolutely.
is
So that's
Actually,
why I tell people, that's why I tell all my students also, use your hand for the salt, especially the kallup, because it's so much more easier. Just pick it up there and put it. So for any liquidy thing like a rasam, a sambar, or kutu, or anything, the best that works is crystal
yeah,
salt.
very true.
Otherwise, what is sea salt?
Sea salt.
I always had a doubt.
Yes, I tell you, one thing is sea salt is not purified. I used to be getting that every time I used to go to either Kerala or to Mangalore, the seas or the ocean side, and even towards Goa. Every time I was in Hubli, we used to go to Goa, and I used to go to the market specifically looking out for the sea salt. It is slightly pale in color, I must say, much paler than the kettle, much lighter than this biscuit color, okay? Much, much paler. And trust me, I tell you, they are crystal form. And then the pure form, I mean, it's just that kacha form of sugar, which is used for cooking. Trust me, Vijay, the kind of sea salt which you use for cooking, the sambar and rasam, oh my God, it tastes much more delicious than the, yes, I have,
Really?
yes, I have tasted it and I have cooked that too. Yes, Malti.
where do you get, where can we buy sea salt normally? You said the ocean.
You are in the coast. You are in the coast. You are towards. You are in the. I mean, seaside itself, right? Mumbai must be available because most of the.
Somebody in Delhi, you mean to say, will not have access to sea salt, or they can still buy? Any idea? No.
See, one thing is either you go to source it online, or you have to go. I used to go to Goa or Kerala, somewhere, specifically in the city market area, where it was available in kilo lekka, in kilos.
And
Yes,
powdered? Is it
not powdered. It was just whole crystal, just like the regular white crystal salt what we get. And it is so delicious. It makes a whole lot of difference. That is widely used even in the pharmaceutical industry to make saline. Saline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The one
Sea
which
salt
they-
is. Yeah, we give drips, no?
Yeah.
So it's used largely in the pharmaceutical industry, actually. So saline is most important. That is one thing. And so that it really makes a lot of difference in taste. But well, there's no iodine in that. And so, now, everyone insists upon using the iodized salt, which is very important and necessary element for our body to, yes, Vijay, you have something?
They always say, did you do saltwater gargling?
Very true.
Okay, whenever your throat starts getting a little thing. But they always say, add kallup, crystal salt. Do not add table salt, add crystal salt and let that dissolve in the hot water and then you gargle. Maybe that has a better effect on the throat than
because of the properties which are there inside them, they have a lot of healing properties. Of course, salt is known to be a boon and the bane. If it's used in excess, it's a bane. And if it's a boon, we definitely use it for poultice. I remember my mom making a small poultice and all that, and then putting the salt and then heating it up on the tawa, and
fermentation.
just about to tolerate the heat, and then give poultice to the pus formation and all that. No, especially during the mango season when you overeat the mango. My dad used to say give a lot of milk. So if you kind of eat excessive mango, you get the kuru, right? All those pus formations and all that because of the heat. So that time, you give the poultice and all that stuff. So that would be. I think any one of you, do you all remember in your home if you had the ice cream bucket, the old-fashioned, old school?
I know
We had the.
they used to put that the same salt. I mean, not the refined one that we're talking about. I don't know if it's the pink one or the other sea salt. You'll know better, of course. And they used to crush it, right, to keep the ice from floating.
Yes, we used to make that. We used to sit with my mom when she used to she had the traditional, old-fashioned ice cream bucket, ice cream maker. Yes, Viji?
Sri Kripa is mentioning, Malti, if you have Mangalore store,
yeah, that's
you
right.
would get sea salt over there. Ask for Gokarna salt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shri.
That was very useful information. So Gokarna salt is what she's asking.
Yeah, Gokarna is the coastal area.
About.
Yeah. It's so that's a very good information. Right, very right. And I think the ice cream when the ice cream was homemade that time, we used to wait for my mother. My dad used to buy chunks and chunks of ice. And then from
that machine,
they used to put it in that gunny sack and then pound it, and then that crushed layer of ice over that atop of a layer of salt, the crystal salt, white salt, and then alternately until it fills up the bucket, and centrally, and you have that ice cream maker, the steel one or the aluminum one, whatever, I don't recall this thing. And then, we used to turn, and just in another 5, 6, it just makes such lovely ice cream. And, see how wonderful it used to be, right?
Yeah, actually,
yes.
Before electricity came about and we didn't have refrigerators, if you go back a little back in history, I'm talking about, before we had electricity or refrigerator, salt was the only preservative that people had.
Yeah.
So even when these battles were fought, before the battle was fought, apparently countries or the whatever, they used to accumulate their salt reserves so that they could have enough food preserved for their soldiers to last the entire wartime.
Yeah.
So that's only preservative in those days. Ice cream, I think, came a little later. Even before that was the salt being used as a preservative. And Nina, you know a lot about brines, right?
Yeah, I tell you one thing, what I really excites me to talk about a brine is the South Canara people. I think Shri here, can relate to that very well. The appe midi vadumanga, what we say in Tamil, no? There is no need that you make a vadumanga pickle with the whole lot of vadumangas that you buy. So the Mangaloreans, they have a typical tendency to even save those mangas, the salted ones. It's not like putting them in a layer. They have a certain proportion where the water is boiled along with the certain proportion of salt, and then it's completely cooled. It's boiled for about a couple of minutes and then let it cool. And the cut mangoes or even the jackfruit, raw jackfruit. When I say jackfruit, it's the raw jack, the pieces and the chunks of raw jack. And many, those are kind of. And even the whole mangoes, the wild mangoes, even they are put in brine, preserved in brine, and you can bring it to use whenever you want. So it's not like, you need to put the appe mango midi or vadumanga for the whole year. So pick it up whenever you want, make it fresh, make the fresh masala. So see, I think these things have been happening even with meat also, where the meat is also preserved the similar way in those days. During the very cold climatic conditions where there is, where only meat was available for people in those days, right? And so that is how I think salt is such a wonderful preservative and incredible uses. Something one can't phantom beyond it goes beyond a pickle and a brine or whatever it is. What about cold countries where, you know, the ice and the snow is removed with the ice? Bolo, Malti?
So
Yeah.
your gobi has those tiny worms in it. So in case you want to get rid of those worms, before you actually cut the cauliflower or the gobi, take a big vessel of water, put a little haldi and salt, and immerse the gobi in it for some time, and out comes the worms. Thereafter, you can cut it and be sure that the insects are not there in your cooking items. கட் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாலே நம்ம அது உப்பு தண்ணியில ஊற வச்சிட்டோம்னா காலிஃபிளவர் ஃப்ளவர்னு சொல்லுவா அது தமிழ்ல காலிஃபிளவர் அது தண்ணியில அப்படியே ஊற வச்சிட்டோம்னா உப்பு தண்ணியில அதுல இருக்கிற பூச்சி எல்லாம் வெளியில வந்துடும். அப்புறமா நம்ம கட் பண்ணினா ரெண்டாம் தடவை பார்த்துக்கலாம் பூச்சி எல்லாம் இருக்கா இல்லையான்னு நீட்டா கட் பண்ணி வச்சுக்கலாம். அதே மாதிரி பேக்கிங்லயும் நீங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஆல்வேஸ் a pinch of salt is added. சால்ட் வந்து ஸ்வீட் வந்து பேலன்ஸ் பண்ணும். நம்ம வந்து இப்போ ஏதாவது சாம்பார் ரசம் பண்றோம்னா அதுல கொஞ்சோண்டு ஜாகரி போடுவோம். அதே மாதிரி எனி ஸ்வீட் தட் யூ மேக் a pinch of salt is always added just to balance the sweetness. Right, Veena? Baking also, salt is widely used. Although it might be a sweet dish, although it might be a cake, we do
enhance the very true, balance. Very true.
So, Sangeeta Devaraj, she wants to join. Is it possible to join her?
I think if you can try to, if you can add, if you can,
you can add because I'm continuously our Jayashree is trying and I'm trying to make her join.
Both are in Chennai. Both are in Chennai. Just check with Sangeeta.
Exactly. Just imagine.
Yeah, I hope the networks are pretty good enough.
Just imagine.
Yeah. And then, you know, when we're talking about the preservative, yeah, you can try to do. Anyway, see, even, you know, even in South Canada, I tell you, one more thing, what I have even noticed, and I have I have a flair of experimenting. Though, you know, we are Karnataka, the South Canada, the North Canada, and the Bangalore, Mysore, and even if you talk about Uttara Karnataka, the northern part of Karnataka, saying, you know, Hubli, Dharwad and all, the region-wise, we are so different in our cuisine. The tamarind, how do they kind of store tamarind? Tamarind is cleaned and then, you know, I'm unable to hear you all, madam. Is it same with everyone or only with Sangeeta?
We can hear you,
everyone able to? No. Sangeeta is saying she's not able to hear us all. Is everyone?
Where is she looking?
She's in Chennai.
Yeah.
Is everyone able to hear?
I'm in and listening to you all. Please go on, she says. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, I am in and I'm listening to you all. Okay, thank you. See, even the tamarind is cleaned, the skin peeled and all that stuff, and then this de-seeded, everything, and it's pounded along with crystal salt and made into balls and put it in baranis or the ceramic jars, and that can be stored for a year long. So that is used for cooking. So these are such an important thing which has been happening from time immemorial, from ages. Those are all ancient practices which are so useful, which are so very useful.
I must tell one thing, you know, I mean, it might be embarrassing, not embarrassing. When we used to have periods in my mother-in-law's house, we observed a lot. So we had to, you know, I cannot eat before my father-in-law ate. And then I cannot sit in the table where they sat. And they'll keep my plate down on the ground and I used to eat. You know, it was just a habit of, you know, those days people never had a bath, so maybe like that. But then, you know, we used to have a bath, but then it was just observed. So the fourth day when we have a head bath, we have in a separate bathroom outside in the outhouse. And there'll be a small window outside. My mamiar in a small plate, she will keep a piece of tamarind skin and kallup. We're supposed to reach out through that hole there, take that, put it in our mouth and then come out. up till today, I've not asked the reason why.
I think
But
we need to
we're
know something
supposed
very
to.
interesting. There should be some
Yeah,
reason.
I remember.
I just remember, it's something I've got to, she wants to come in.
You
Okay.
able
I've
to?
thought of this before, Vijay. This is the first time I'm hearing. Nina, you? I mean, this.
I'm oblivious
We've
to this
always done
reason.
that, my
It's so
mommy and
interesting.
house.
Now I know it's a curiosity for me. I've had
You
to figure
know,
out.
my
Find out
other
what it is.
co-sisters, my other co-sisters, they'll be having a bath. My mommy would say, "Tatla puli uppu poi kondu veyi." And the janalla velila, so you can reach out. It's an old-fashioned,
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
bathroom. So then they used to reach out through the hole there in that window, take it, eat, and then only come out and show our faces.
Very true.
So that kallup and tamarind, that combination, you're supposed to put it in your mouth. So everywhere that is given importance, but this particular thing I remembered. If you all can give me the reason,
Yeah,
tell
now
me. I
you
never
got me
bothered, so I
curious.
just
You
remembered
got
it.
us both curious. Now I think if our viewers have some kind of significance, if they know, I think they can share it with us.
If anybody
Yeah,
knows,
yeah. It's
please let
really.
me know why I did that in my mother-in-law's house, because as of now, I have not found out why. And I just remembered that we used to have that.
Yeah.
I just, in fact, sometimes we'll forget to have it and come, and then my mom will say, please go back and have that and then come, I've never asked her. Those days, you blindly follow, you never ask questions, and then you don't have a Google to go and find out.
Yeah,
even-
Then you
very
feel
true.
a little,
Yeah.
you feel a little out of place to
We were
ask
not
your
supposed to
in-laws and all
ask. We were not
questions.
supposed to ask questions. Just blindly follow. But now generation asks questions which are very much welcome, right? We are in a way.
No, that's
Very
important. That's
important to
important.
know.
I mean, you
Go
can't
blind.
be blind like this. It doesn't mean you're giving them disrespect by
Yeah,
asking them
very
questions
true.
on what they want
We
you
just
to
want
do.
to
That's
know
what
just
we
right,
think.
why.
Yeah.
That's just why.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then this is what I want. I thought you people have an answer to it. I didn't realize you were hearing it for the first time.
We'll find
I
out,
didn't
Vijay.
know.
Next time you'll get it. Don't worry. We'll find out. Figure out what it is.
Of course,
I can
as
only
she
think of
said.
some form of purification, Nina, because it's salt. I mean, could it be? Instantly, that's what strikes me.
Probably.
Because it's
See, and one more
seeing
thing,
and
what I
salt.
recall is, Malti, do you remember, see, even when we finish our food, especially in any kind of get-together or a function or whatever, a religious, when we're putting the Yelepodu Sapati in somebody's place or whoever is host, whatever it is, we are supposed to kind of put a few drops of water on the salt and then clean it and melt it, and then only we get out, because they say don't carry the runa, or what is it, what do you call, I don't know, runa nu beda anta heltivi, like we don't have to be kind of what do I tell in
Ill feeling? No. Ill feeling?
no,
Ill feeling?
no,
Bad
it's no. I don't know how to say that. In Kannada, we say runa beda, runa beda, bereyavardu runa beda, utad runa beda anta. Like you just put the water and then kind of wipe it clean, and so you're not going to leave the salt there. You either finish by eating it along with food, or you just kind of clean it up by putting water and melting, so that we don't leave the salt just like that. And I think, the most important thing what I used to remember is when I used to be going for trekking expeditions with my eldest son, he used to say, I would have aching feet because he used to take me to altitudes. And then we did have a very specific, special hiking shoes, though well protected still. What he used to come and recommend me to do is, the feet used to ache very badly. And then, he would add hot water, put hot water in the bathtub, and then a
No,
huge
liability. Runa is liability.
liability, correct. Liability. Right. Thank you, Sri.
Even when you go for long treks,
Yeah.
you come back, you pour hot water in a tub
And
And a
add
fistful
salt
of salt to it,
Add
and then
kallu
yes,
to
it heals so much.
It gives
It
relief.
gives you
Soak your
yeah,
legs
yeah.
with the salt water. I mean, it's that important. It's a preservative. Not only is it a preservative, but it's also an ingredient that brings out all the other flavors.
Very true.
Because you would not know something is spicy if there's
Yeah.
less of salt.
See, only thing is
You would
what
not know that
the
something
generation
is the
today
right
is,
spice unless.
true. I think it's because of the sedentary lifestyle. the doctors recommend so many, pluses and minuses in our food habits. Early, you won't believe it. My father-in-law lived up to a grand old age of 92. He was a very active person. Only the last 9 days of his life were a little bit down and he passed away without much of a suffering. He used to walk. And he used to be very fond of eating, enjoying hot rice with avakai. And then he used to have a habit of putting the oil, the pure kadlekai, the groundnut oil on. That is the way they enjoyed food. I have never seen him suffering at all. They had a healthy lifestyle. They're very disciplined.
No. So I feel.
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
I interrupted.
Yes, go
I
on.
feel half is our fear of what might happen. It's just that you have to be confident about what you do in life. I'm eating salt. People say I shouldn't be eating salt. I don't care because I know that nothing will happen to me. You see, that kind of confidence is very important because the more you're anxious or fearful about something that might happen because of what you're having, that is clearly an indication that it could happen.
See, there are healthy
so I
ways.
always feel
Oh,
those,
yes, Surabhiji, very right. It depends. See, pickles, they are an integral part of our Indian cuisine, even according to Ayurveda. A little bit of pickle or the goju or the tokkus are essential to kind of kindle that appetite. Otherwise, the hunger, and even for the older people. But that doesn't mean that we need to take anything in excess. Joe, what is necessary in day to day? Over that, we are not supposed. People enjoy a pack of ruffle lace sitting in one place, which is loaded with salt, and the finger chips or those French fries. They are absolutely no, right? So I think we Indians, we have a specific way of kind of understanding how much is essential. And so those and all those, what you call that monosodium glutamate and all those fancy stuff, which are I think the packed foods have terrible, in fact.
Everything in moderation, I guess, whether it be salt or sugar, so long as it's in moderation, it's fine, I guess, right?
Yeah.
We missed Jay.
No ruffles. Ruffles. I said no ruffles. I'm saying hi to Nandini.
I mean, these days,
I know he said hello to us.
whole packet of chips, as you rightly said, it's salted, and salt is only taste enhancer there. If you buy the plain potato chips, and they just salt. The salt happens to be your taste enhancer. It enhances the flavor. In case it's a sweet dish, it balances the sweetness. And if you take something like pavaka, which is bitter, and kasapu korekarthu kuda uppu pottu modale oora vechittu, then you have the pavaka, so the bitterness is reduced to that extent.
One more thing, one more cue. Many times what happens when we are making a North Indian cuisine, the onion doesn't brown or saute fast. Even the tomatoes don't soften fast. The little bit of salt, sprinkling salt, as you're sauteing, quickens the process superb. And, it softens and then sautés it very faster. So I think
for some vegetables like that, for onions, for tomatoes.
Very true.
But not so for
very
for
true.
okra.
Oh, no way.
You got to wait for
very
it.
True.
Specifically. So there are, and there's one more thing. Epsom salt is very important for plants. So I buy Epsom salt and add for plants because it's very good for plant growth. That's what I was told. So just put half an inch away from the root. All around it, you sprinkle some Epsom salt and use it.
Request is not sent, she's saying. I don't know what she's saying.
No, I don't want to call you.
You know what? A request is being sent, but I think this is too late. It should have been the first 5 minutes or something.
Let it be. It's fine.
Malti, I think Vijay or Malti.
I'm doing it again
can talk about this thing, I still remember every time my mom used to tell, of course, she was from Madurai and she used to give us little quotes in Tamil, she say, Uppittavarai ullalavum ninai. So you can explain that in Tamil.
Is it that? Uppilla pandam kuppaile. Correct, Vijay? Means something like
You would know better. You would know better,
Uppilla pandam kuppaile.
What is that?
Any food item that doesn't have salt,
Salt
it's fit to
in
be in kuppe. Kuppe means garbage.
It's rubbish.
No. This
It's
is
just rubbish.
similar to whatever I said, uppu tinda manege eradu bagi beda, like, uppittavarai. Whoever has given you the food or shelter or home, who has nurtured you and given you care, you remember them throughout life. So how
जिसका थाली में
salt
खाया
is
उसमें I mean जिसका थाली में खाते हैं, you have to be loyal to that person,
loyal
right?
to
जिसका
them.
नमक खाया,
Correct. Like you
yeah.
said in the beginning.
So I think
Absolutely.
that is so important to really kind of, salt is such a wonderful ingredient in our day-to-day cuisine and our lives.
We missed Jayashree this time. I'm sure she had a lot of things to share, which
One more thing, we forgot. See, one quick cue for everyone when we're having severe loose motions, watery or whatever, dehydration ke liye, a combination of salt and sugar balances that electrolyte is very much important.
Yeah.
So that is mandatory.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that is what,
it is
especially for small kids, it's useful.
Yeah, even for elders.
It's actually unfortunate that
Jayashree
Jayashree was not able to join because
exactly.
there's so much of Tamil homilies and all those things she would have given.
Absolutely.
I think it's because I'm constantly trying to accept her. I'm constantly trying to accept the other lady, Sangeeta, also. But it's not coming.
I think Chennai, is there any depression or something in your city?
They says 50% rain for the next 3 days, but when it rained so heavily in the city, it did not rain here on East.
Oh, maybe,
So I don't know. It's a little cloudy, a little humid, but
not sure.
It's not really. One day it rained, but after that it did not rain. But it kind of brought down the temperature when it rained heavily that day. Yes. So I think we should continue this the next week because I think Jayashree will have tons and tons of
with her stories. Truly missed her.
So
very true.
So if anybody has any questions,
you said,
can go ahead and
Malti,
ask.
how do you save the flowers how do you keep the flowers from being fresh in the vase? You were saying something the other day.
Put a teaspoon of salt in that water and keep the flowers in that. They last much longer. They remain fresh much longer.
That's a wonderful tip, Malti.
Yeah. See, actually, salt is the only rock which we all eat. In case you've not, it's a condiment which happens to be. So there you have.
Balu has some uppittavar means inimai in this proverb. What is that?
Inimai means sweet. Inimai means
inimai is sweetness.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That is a good thing. We tend to confuse the language like uppu is uppu. Inimai.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was very useful. So, Vijay, we'll wind up this call in the interest of time, and we will take Jayashree's inputs when we meet next. As I said, this is the only rock that human beings eat, and since time immemorial, it's been one of the crucial ingredients, especially in Indian cooking. Once upon a time, it used to be called even white gold. So, when I was just reading up about salt for the show, I came to know that the word salary is also derived from the word salt. So in the good old days, people used to be paid salary in salt.
Barter exchange. Barter.
So, in exchange. So it used to be a very precious commodity once upon a time.
Very true.
And people used to be paid salary in salt. In fact, our own Gandhiji, he defied the British laws regarding salt.
Salt satyagraha.
Charging tax for
where we are today, otherwise it wouldn't have been possible, I guess. And
absolutely.
This is the only condiment that enhances the taste. It balances the sweetness. So in your strawberry milkshake, you can add a strawberry cake. You can add a pinch of salt. The sweetness would still be there. It won't disappear. It won't make it salty. And bitterness. Yes, Vijay.
And also when we do Naivedyam, we do some sweets or something for God to Naivedyam. You see, add that pinch of salt for a dessert, for a sweet.
Correct.
I don't know what the significance in that is. but it's not the balancing. I think there should be more reason
Something,
to
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Why
very
we
true.
add a little.
It enhances the taste, it gives the flavor. No, if you don't put salt, at times the flavor doesn't come out of the vegetable or the rice that you're cooking.
Very true. And
Even
I
if you put
think,
sourness, the
very
sourness
true.
will not come unless you put the salt.
Even during the Nagar Chauthi and the Panchami festival, Nagappa festival, time when we are giving Tanni, or we are going to worship Nagappa, Nagadevata on that particular day, the first thing what we have is specific, ingredients there to be offered to Nagadevata, and first is the crystal salt which is offered with the kadale, uppu kadale and salt, because that is known to kind of cure, heal people from skin disorders. I mean, according to our ancestors, whatever we have been practicing, we still do that even today.
So despite
Yes,
what
ma'am.
science
So the next
has to
time,
say, despite whatever science says, salt will stay as an integral part of our, at least
Very
Indian
true.
cuisine,
Very
I guess,
true.
right? I mean, we can't do without it. Yes,
Very
Vijay,
true.
you were saying something?
absolutely. Like I said, the next time when Jayashree comes, she should be regaling about the Uppaliyappan temple.
I
Because
was wanting
why
to hear
everything, the
from her.
bachanam,
I want to actually hear
everything,
it
the
from her.
rice, the
Yeah.
bachanam, the prasadam, everything. So you go and buy in that stall, you buy murukku and all that. I mean, for the thing of it, I brought. I couldn't eat even one bite.
Is
Get
it?
that.
Without
Yeah.
salt, I couldn't even relish anything. But that God is offered everything without
Very
salt.
true.
Uppaliyappan.
So the
So I'm
significance
sure
she
she
will be
will
able to
have lots to
explain.
I
say.
think we must have a session with her again and repeat it to hear
No,
from her.
no, we must have it, Malti.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so
And
we'll
I'd
sign
like to
off.
end this session on this small anecdote. The reason I came up with salt as a topic of discussion. So I was watching this cookery show where a number of contestants were competing against each other. So they had to guess the ingredients in a dish. It was a very fancy looking dish. I didn't know half of the ingredients. All sorts of I don't know what it was. I could identify rice. Other than that, I couldn't guess what else was there in it. So this contestant came up after 3 rounds. So everybody came up with all fancy stuff that was there and happened to be true. This guy said salt. And then it was as basic as that. So whatever we cook, it either has salt or sugar, right?
Yeah.
And that is so important. It's an
Important.
important part of the dish without which the taste will never come up. So that's
Exactly.
where I came up with the idea that we must discuss about salt.
No, it's so good. We loved this topic so much, and I think we can go on and go on. I said, we must have a sequel and then have Jayashree to really narrate those
Hopefully,
anecdotes and stories. Absolutely, absolutely.
so,
But
it was
nice
a
to be
pleasure.
back, girls, ladies. Such a wonderful feeling to be back after a small hiatus. Yes.
Yes.
And it's not a small, for me, it was a huge hiatus.
Yes,
Because I
and
really
moreover,
thought
we
I
were
missed you
working
guys for a
on
long time.
3 different time zones, and now we are back on the same time zone. Yeah,
I know.
that's a
Such a pleasure to be here with the two of you and our viewers as well. And
Thank you so
we look
much.
forward to more such interesting discussions. And if you do have any questions, please do write back to us and we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you so much, Vijay.
Thank you
Veena,
so much. Thank you,
hopefully Jay should be
thank you,
joining us.
Vijay. Thank you, Malti. Thank you.
Bye. Take care, dear.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.
Yes,
Bye
good
to
night.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.